My name is Alexey Savkin. I'm a business performance expert at pcdesigner.com, and today we'll talk about the most important aspect of the business. I'm talking about business strategy, and I believe that it is the most important aspect because it actually ensures long-term business survival and success. So we can do well on some beginning levels, on the level of operation. We can do well on higher levels, like managing several business units. But if we fail on the level of strategy, our business won't survive in the long term. So that's why the strategy is important. And that's why actually we are all here. So yes, and one thing, if you will have any questions, don't hesitate to write your question in chat. I won't be able to answer it right away, but we'll collect these questions, and after each section I will review the questions that you wrote, and I will do my best to answer these questions. So feel free to use this chat for this purpose. So let's start. I'd like to start with some typical business problems, and I'm asking you to type plus into the chart if you have ever been faced with one of these situations. So I will start. The first situation is that if you have checked the introduction video, I think you have already checked these examples, but I think it's important, so let's pass through them again. So the first situation is when your team generate a lot of ideas. Yes, you have a lot of ideas. You're doing brainstorming very good, and you have a lot of ideas. But the problem is that you cannot get all these ideas into one direction. You cannot formalize these ideas. You cannot get some kind of structure for these ideas. So that is a problem, and it exists in any business. In any business where people share their ideas, and I'm sure you face this problem as well. Another problem is that the first problem that I mentioned is not really dangerous, because your team generate ideas, and okay, you have some ideas, you have a list of ideas that you want to think about in the future, so it's not really dangerous. And these things that I'm talking right now, it's a little bit more dangerous. How it looks like. Your employees are always busy doing a lot of various business tasks. And the problem is that when you check the results, there are no results. And there are no tangible results. Of course, they will submit you a lot of reports. They will explain in some way that what they were doing is important, but there is no tangible result. What I mean by tangible result, I mean a result that you can measure in some way. And what is more important is that this result can actually help your business in some way, help you to execute your strategy. And that is a problem, because people are doing some job, but they are not helping your company to move into the right direction. So another problem is that, this picture, that obtained results, like this picture, are not what you was thinking about, are not what was you looking for. So it's not about your employees. They are good people and they're professionals, and it's more about your management skills. It's more about your skills to communicate your ideas to your employees. And even if you do this on an excellent level, there is still a problem, because to do what you want them to do, they need to see a big picture. And If you just explain the details, you explain only the details on certain business level, you actually don't explain, let's say, the big picture of the business. So that is a problem, because people don't understand the big picture, and they don't understand what exactly they need to do on their level. So they know more or less the direction, but they don't know the details. And in this way, you're not getting from them what you could get. Another, well, I think it's one of the most typical problems is that your team, or probably yourself, your team is focusing a lot on operational level ideas. Yes, like here we have this dashboard with a lot of details, a lot of indicators, charts, and so on. But what actually happens is that your team is losing the big picture of the business. Your business probably is directing to some big challenge or big problem, and your people are doing a lot of things. They're doing a lot of job, but they're focusing on operational things. They're not focusing on the big picture, and they finally in 2 or 3 years, it's not like in Titanic, but in 2 or 3 years, you will find out that that your business is actually not where you want it to be. So that is a problem. Another typical problem is that your team is actually, well, it's not really a problem. It's I would say that it's a diagnosis of what happens bad in your company. Because when people ask for your assistance, ask for your help too often, for me, it's a sign that something is going wrong in your company. Because normally, people need to ask you questions, ask the leader questions only when the question is related to some strategic thing. Yes, and when people ask too many questions on the lower level, operational level questions, then for me it's a sign that people are not understanding what they're doing really, because they see the task only as you wrote it to them, and they don't understand why you want them to do this task. So they are missing this component. And well, it's more or less the same problem when your team generate a lot of inputs, a lot of ideas, but the problem is that these ideas have nothing to do with your goal. So for example, I was working with one hotel, and they faced a problem that people needed a kind of transfer service to get people from airport to this hotel. Yeah, so there was a problem, and managers suggested to buy some cars and to hire some people that would drive hotel guests from airport to hotel and back. And well, from the first viewpoint, this idea looks great, but let's think about this. This is a hotel, it's not a taxi company, and it's not the main business of this company. And obviously, if they had buy some cars and if they had hire some people, it would take more resources, and it's not a good point to start. And finally, the solution was to get a contract with some taxi company that would drive people from hotel and airport. And this solution was much more cheap, inexpensive, and actually after this hotel was able to decide if they actually need it or not. So it's one of the examples when people suggest you something and they believe that it's a good idea, but actually it is not. And well, this happens, and probably we cannot do anything about this. But the first thing I suggest you to do is to understand if your business faced this problem or similar problem, and please use the chart function and type like plus or some details about your experience about these problems or similar problems, if you have faced with these situations, or if you think that, well, this is something typical. So I'll wait for some time and we continue. Okay, so let's move on. Yeah, Pablo typed 3 pluses in the chart, so I assume that it's about facing 3 problems from the mentioned ones. Yeah, Sergio. Oh, these are typical problems. Any business will face these problems, and it's not about like being unique and we don't face these problems. Every business faces problems, and the question is how business addresses problems and what business do about this. So normally to address these problems, company implements some business systems like project management system, and this system is supposed to formalize the process. But still, with project management, a lot of mentioned problems are unsolved. So companies go ahead and decide to implement a performance measurement system. The difference between measurement and management, I think it's clear. Management is about manage and measurement is about measure. So, and what happens when companies implement business measurement system? They face even more problems. For example, look at this picture. It's a golf camp, and companies could say that we know how to measure their success, but we don't know how to achieve it. We'll talk about this later, but the question is here that, okay, we know how to calculate the score, but this does not help us to understand how to play better. So that is a problem. Or we don't know how to achieve it. Or company can measure a lot of business indicators, but on the same time, management does not know where to use this data because, well, with these big data ideas, we can generate a lot of charts, a lot of diagrams, we can get a lot of information from databases, but the biggest problem is the company does not understand where to use it. Or another problem of measurement, I think it's one of the most dangerous problems, is that all the indicators that we have, all the charts that we have are, let's say, in the green zone. So all the indicators show that the company is doing great, but at the same time, the revenue, the profit of the company is not growing. So that's the problem, because indicators show that everything is good, but profit is not growing. Why? Or another situation is that our costs have increased a lot, but on the same time, we see that our profits did not. So it's also about measurement, because measurement in this case gives us a wrong picture of what's going on. So it tells us that, okay, our indicators are in the green zone, but actually our revenue is not growing. So there is a problem about measurement in this case. So again, mentioned problems can be solved on different levels using various techniques, and there are a lot of some acronym-based names or some buzzwords, but the basic idea is it's about some skills like time management or project management. And I think that on the top of this pyramid is a strategy management level. So some of the problems can be solved only on this top level. So in this webinar, we'll talk about a design and implementation of a strategy management system. And we'll go through the steps about how some vague business insights can be converted into some tangible business ideas, and then can be described as a strategy, and then can be translated down to the lower business levels. So if you do this, you will be able to solve a lot of mentioned problems, and I will actually show you how to do this, and we'll go through the steps together. So that's what we are going to do. We are going to build some strategy. Normally strategy comes from the top level, and we're going to describe the strategy, and we're going to translate the strategy down to the lower business levels. And before we start, you know that in the name of this training is a word scorecard, and I'd like to pay attention to the fact that it's really confusing word, and don't be confused by this word, because in the most cases when people hear the scorecard in the business context, they think about so-called KPI scorecard. It is a scorecard where companies put their metrics, put their information, their data that they get from ERP systems, that they get from CRM system. So that is a KPI scorecard. And the problem with the KPI scorecard is that it's not strategic. It's strategic only in the sense that these metrics are reviewed by top management. So in this sense, yes, it is strategic, but in other senses it is not, because it has nothing to do with strategy. It's measurement thing. It's not management. So in the contrast, I'd like to talk about, let's say, authentic business scorecard. They're also called strategy scorecard, and we'll see how it will help us to solve mentioned business problems. So there are two strategy-related processes, two main strategy-related processes. First, we need to define strategy, and then we need to describe a strategy. And when we define strategy, we have a lot of, let's say, business ideas. Yes. And normally we can divide these business ideas, business insights, into several categories. Like normally people thinking about solutions. Yeah, so they understand more or less the problem and they're thinking about solutions. I have solution for this, I have solution for this. And it's not really good approach, because we cannot think about solution until we know the problem. It might sound obviously, but sometimes people don't really understand the problem. They're starting suggesting solutions, but they don't have a clear understanding of the problem. And if we continue on this idea, then we could say that sometimes people are suggesting some solutions to some problem, but they don't know the reason of this problem. So to make this kind of brainstorming more effective, we need to understand three things. First, we need to specify a problem or a challenge. Then we need to do a careful analysis of the reasons of this problem, why it happened. Or if you have some business challenge, you can answer the question, why it is a challenge for you, why you cannot do it, or what's the problem about this. And only then we can come up with a solution to address this problem. And when we passed these three steps, we could come up with a hypothesis. It's not a solution. Why? Because we're trying to get to make an educated guess about what will work and what will probably help our business. So it's never actually a solution. It's always about guessing. It's always about making educated guess about what might work for us. So that's why it's hypothesis. And when we do this, we need some guide. And there is one good book. Well, there are a lot of good books about strategy, but for specifically this approach, I recommend this one. It's a book by Richard Rumelt. It's the name, Good Strategy, Bad Strategy. And well, there are a lot of examples, and there are a lot of ideas that you can put on your strategy checklist. And these ideas will certainly help you with strategy description. Because as I mentioned before, there are two processes about strategy. First is a strategy definition, and another is strategy description. So for defining strategy, for coming up with ideas, for formulating these ideas, strategy definition, read this book and you will find a lot of inspiration. You won't find some ready-to-use recipes because they don't exist, but you will find some general direction. And well, it's not the only way to define your strategy. There are some other methods. For example, there are so-called generic strategies. It's more relevant to works of Porter, to works of Kaplan and Norton, and experts in this field. And well, the idea is that company have several options, several like standard options, generic strategies. For example, product excellence, customer service excellence, or operational excellence. And the idea is that company need to be on a good level in each of these strategies, in each of these perspectives, and that company needs to be focused really good on one of these strategies. For example, you have to create a great product, but still your customer service and your operational things need to be on a good level. And well, probably this approach with generic strategies will work for you as well. Probably you can check some examples. For example, McDonald's company is well, it is said that it is about operational excellence strategy, but well, there are different opinions that it is in a real estate business or it is in a customer service excellence. So these borders here are not really defined. What is important is that you have several options in your toolkit that could help you to define your strategy, to formulate your ideas. And well, it is a creative process, and it really depends on the experience of your team. What it means? It means that no consultant will help you with your strategy. Someone can help you by asking the right questions, and these questions could lead you to some correct hypothesis. But there is no miracle, there is no magic pill about this. So it was a strategy definition. And now, well, we're getting to the main topic of this webinar. It's about strategy description. And once we have an idea about the problem, a diagnosis, and a possible solution, we are actually ready to describe a strategy. And the question is, why describe a strategy? Why don't we use it as it is on this as it is on this slide? Why don't we use it in a list of some ideas? Why describe a strategy? Well, the answer is that because the list of the possible solutions, it's really hard to work with. Well, if you work alone, you can manage with it. But I think, again, you will face some problems. But it is really hard to follow a strategy when it is described in this way. And what is even more difficult is to communicate this strategy to other people. So we cannot leave our strategy only as a list of ideas. It won't work. So we need to describe it. And to describe the strategy, we need to map our ideas, to map our hypotheses that we think can help a company to achieve its desired results. And these hypotheses can be converted into business goals and objectives. And when we map these objectives, we take into account the cause and effect connections between them. And actually, this is, if you will remember one thing after this webinar, I want you to remember this one. That your ideas, when they are mapped, need to be connected by cause and effect connections. Need to have these cause and effect links. Because when you have these connections, you can track back the reason of the problem, you can track back your ideas, you can track back a minor action that your employee do up to the strategic objective that stands behind this minor action. So this is, I think, the most important thing about business scorecards. But there are a lot of other details that we need to pay attention to. So basically, there are various ways that we can map our ideas, our hypotheses about solutions to the problem. And the most basic approach is to start a strategy as a process chart, something like this on this slide. And here the steps are linked to each other, so everything is fine. But in this way, it's easy to forget about some of the important aspects of the strategy. And people tend to focus on operational aspects too much, and thus they forget about the big picture. So you remember this slide? Yeah? People are focusing on operational aspect too much, and they're forgetting about big picture. That is why it's not advisable to describe the strategy as a process chart, because it is not suitable for this. And actually, if you will describe it as a process chart, you will still face this problem that people are doing a lot of job and there is no result. Why? Well, they did their job, they finished all operational steps, but there is no result. Why? Because it is not only about the process chart, it is not about only operational level. So to avoid this, we could use some established perspectives. And on this screenshot, you see 4 perspectives, and these are the perspectives suggested by the balanced scorecard method. So financial perspective, customer perspective, internal process perspective, learning and growth perspective. And As you can see, the objects on the top level, this one, I have arrow here, they are linked by cause and effect connection to the objectives on the lower level, and these objectives are linked to other objectives by cause and effect connection as well. So two ideas here: have some perspectives and link objectives by cause and effect connections. Actually, their perspectives, their names, and meaning depend a lot on the business framework that you use. So I believe that one of the best ideas is to start with the 4 perspectives suggested by the authors of Balanced Scorecard framework. So according to the Balanced Scorecard, we need to describe strategy, and we start with financial outcomes, yes, financial perspective, and then we think about what our company needs to be for the customers in order to achieve desired financial outcomes. So we create some objectives, some map some ideas on the customer perspective, and then we think we need to understand what business systems do we need to have in order to support the required changes. In other words, how should we change our business to be able to provide the value to the customer? So as you understood, the process chat will actually be on this level. Yes, it's about your business, it's about your business systems, but this level is actually linked with the level above, with customer perspective, and it is linked with financial perspective. So that's why it's a really dangerous thing to keep your strategy only on a process level, So you have these perspectives and you use it. And finally, our cause and effect chain is terminated by education and growth perspective. Why we need it? Well, sometimes on a internal process perspective, we have some idea and we know what we need to do, but we don't have enough information to do this, or we don't have enough skills to do this. And when we don't have these skills, we put them on the learning and growth perspective. It might be like a one-time project when you need to learn some new technology, or it might be some continuous project, like, for example, when you want to build some business systems that would engage your customers more. Then on a learning and growth perspective, you need to come up with some way to get some data from your CRM system to learn continuously something important about your customers. So that is the idea. Well, it is just a basic review, but as I mentioned, two the most important things: perspectives and cause and effect connection. So we're moving now to the measures. And well, if you have any questions so far, please ask. Well, let's talk about measures. I will wait if you will type something in chat, and after discussing measures, we'll return to the questions. So once the strategy is mapped and business objectives are connected with cause and effect links, we need to implement some kind of feedback mechanism. And ideally, we need to check if the strategy that was executed, if it helps our business, if we achieve some results, if this strategy actually add a value to the final goal. And for this purpose, we need some specific measures. And well, there are actually two types of measures: leading and logging. So leading measures tells us, it's not a definition, so it's to explain the difference. Leading measures tell us what will happen, and lagging measures tells us what had happened. So let's check out this example with a golf. So when you play golf, your goal is to get a ball into a small hole called a cap by taking as few shots as possible. So that's, let's say, basic rule of the golf. So your golf instructor explains this idea to you, and after each shot you see how successful you were and how close your ball is to the target. So it's not like a golf rule, but we can say that the distance is one of the lagging measures. And well, it's easy to measure. You did a shot and you can come and you can, okay, my ball is 1.25 from the cap. Okay, that's great. Well, that's great to know, but when you start to practice, and it appears that just knowing an expected result doesn't help you much. Doesn't help you much with hitting the ball in the right way. Your instructor needs to explain you the techniques that you need to employ in order to improve your golf swing. And your swing is supposed to be measured with some leading measures. What it is about. As you can see, you can easily measure the result, you can easily measure the score, but it's really hard to understand what technique you need to employ, what parameters you need to implement, and to get your ball into the right direction. And for a golf instructor, it's really hard to communicate these ideas to you. So that's why in any game, not only in golf, it's about practicing, it's about trying different things. So it is all about leading. It's all about leading measures, because you need to find how exactly you need to move. You need to find what angle exactly you need to take. So you need to find these leading measures, and when you will implement them, when you will master them, then you will actually enjoy good results. But only knowing the results won't help you much. So one question, well, it's a rhetorical question, but I still want to ask it. Does this example look like an obvious one? I think it is. Yes. No one would try to convince me that knowing how to calculate the score will make you Tiger Woods or someone else who plays golf very well. Yes, it is so, but let's think about how companies treat this idea. Companies and businesses normally focus too much on logging indicators. A typical example is when there are a number of financial measures, and financial measures are normally logging ones, but there are no leading measures. And in this case, a company knows how to calculate a score. They know their financial measures very good, but a company has no idea about what to do in order to improve the score. So this works only for the monitoring of the current situation, not for the improvement. Does it mean that we need to get rid of all lagging measures? No. But in the very beginning, we need to understand the difference between two measures. So it was a short introduction into measures, and there are a lot of ideas about how one can come up with better leading measures, and there are a lot of ideas how one can come up with better lagging measures, some smart principles, and so on. Well, it's not a topic right now, but what I want you to understand is that there are two types of measures, and well, probably leading measures are a little bit more valuable than lagging ones. And actually, the best case is when we have a balanced set of leading and logging indicators that tell us what's happening right now in our business. It's about logging indicators, knowing the score, and what can be done better to improve the situation. It's about leading indicators. So probably we need to keep this balance, and we need to add these measures to our scorecard. And in practice, finding a correct set of leading and lagging measures is actually a very big challenge. So for my practice, it's a normal situation when company has a described strategy, but only 50% of measures, and the rest is not defined yet. And if this is your case, don't worry. It's much better to have less measures than to take one of the various measures that your ERP or CRM system provides, and these taken measures would be pointless for your business. They won't work for your business. And well, that's actually what is described in the books of authors of Balanced Scorecard concept. Even international companies, when they implement the Balanced Scorecard, they don't start with 100% of measures defined. It's not possible. So it's better to start naturally. It's better to wait until your measures will be discovered in a natural way, than taking these measures from some list on the internet, and just taking some data from ERP or CRM system. So I think we did a good part with measures. Let me check out the questions. I'll send in the presentation after. Actually, you will have a recording of this presentation with slides and video, and I think the platform Vizik will make it as well, make the recording, and we'll upload the recording to YouTube, and I think you will have it tomorrow. Another question is instituting training a form of leading measure? Well, I'm not familiar with instituting training, but it's not the point. The point is that it's a really good question, because in some cases the measure changes its meaning. So in some cases one measure might be leading, and in another case it might be lagging. So what is the difference? How to differentiate it? The difference is about business context, because we cannot say without seeing the business context if this very measure is lagging or leading. For example, the number of computers in the office, is it a leading or a lagging measure? I don't know, because for the first side it is like a lagging measure that is easy to calculate, and it gives us it is not leading us to a better results, let's say so. And on the other hand, if we're talking about call center, where it's important to have more seats, important to involve more people, it's probably more related to leading measure. Well, not the best example, but I think you got the idea. And actually, it's also about key performance indicators. As you can see, I'm not using key performance indicator word because, well, it's really popular, but it is a buzzword now, and people are abusing this term and calling KPI any measure. And the problem is the same, that KPI, it makes sense defining something as a KPI only when you have a business context. When you have a business context, you can say, okay, for our business, this measure is one of the key measures that is linked to the performance, and that is KPI. So that is a question. That is a difference, and we need to understand it. Another question. My company is doing profitable business without balanced scorecard in last so many years. Why do we need balanced scorecard? Actually, I will answer this question in the details with some facts, some references a little bit later. And probably the best way to answer it in few words is that you can always improve. Yes. So right now, if you are doing good, it's great. And if you don't want to change anything, it's great. But as you are here on this webinar, I think that you have faced some strategic problems, or you have faced some difficulties in describing the strategy. If you don't have these problems, if you successfully communicate your strategy to employees, then you don't need balanced scorecard. And I would not recommend to speculating about this, to guessing about this problem. The best idea is to do some tests. A simple test is to go to your office and to ask some of your employees. It's better to ask some line level employee about what he or she is doing right now, and how it will help your company to achieve company's goals. And you can analyze the answer. And if you interviewed several persons and all of them have a clear understanding of what's going on and why they are doing what they're doing, and they can explain the details, then you don't need anything. You need to go to MBA, and you need to teach others about doing business so well. And the problem is, I will mention it later, that according to the researchers, most companies face this problem of connection between strategy and line level actions. And they face the problem of communication, strategy to the line level employees. And it's not about only line level employees, it's also about sharing the idea of the business among top management. For example, there was one experiment when people were asked about the metrics that they think a company need to use to evaluate the results of the company. And only one metric was mentioned by everyone from the top management, and the rest was like different metrics, different understanding. And actually, when you dig deeper, you understand that people see the success as a very different ideas, and that is a problem, because people don't have the same picture, and they don't understand what to do about it. So I hope I began to answer your question, and I hope it is enough to inspire you to continue hearing the webinar. So moving ahead, what's next? Then we have our objectives here. We have, let me paint it. Yes, we have our objectives, and each objective, not each, we said that in the better case scenario, we would have like 50% of measures defined. So some of the objectives have measures defined. We hope that some of them are leading and some of them are logging. And now we added initiatives marked with this icon, small icon. Initiative is our plan about working with this objective. It's let's think about this as another level of details about objective, because objective is something like general. Well, starting from the beginning, on the top level we have goal. It's like our business wishes, and on the next level we have objectives. It's a more detailed explanation of our goals, and there are different interpretations. Some added that the next level is strategies, or we can go directly to initiatives. The idea is that we are adding more details now. So if you're running a smaller company, you will have here some plan that you want to execute. So I won't talk about this a lot. We'll master this in product management. So we can congratulate ourselves, as now we have a detailed strategy map. Once more, we have 4 perspectives. We have objectives linked to each other with cause and effect connections. We have logging and leading measures, and we have initiatives. That's great, but actually it was the easier part. The harder one is to share the strategy with your team. And there might be an objection that a strategy is for, let's say, top management only. And if you're line level employees, they don't need to understand your strategy. And some companies even trying to hide the strategy from line level employees, trying to, in this way, to hide the strategy from competitors. But actually, your employees need to understand specific aspects of the strategy, probably not all aspects, but some. And they need to understand these aspects as well as you do, or probably even better. So you cannot just show a desired result and expect that your team will understand in some way how to achieve it. So do you remember this example with golf? Yeah. Sometimes when you set a task to your employee and say, I want to do this, you're doing something like, I want this ball to be 2 meters from the cap. So you're telling the results that you want your employee to do, but it's not really clear why you want this result, how it's connected to the strategy. So that is the problem. So we cannot just tell our employees the result that we need. Well, we can, but in this way we'll spend half of our day explaining unnecessary details to our employees. We don't want this. It's not about management. And if we don't share our strategy with employees, we'll face a mentioned situation when they do a lot of job, but there is no result. We don't want this either. Or when we don't share our strategy, we face another problem, that they suggest something, but it's not relevant to what we need. And, well, I don't know how your business, but my business cannot survive without ideas from my employees. So they cannot help me with their ideas if they don't know the strategy. So let's agree for now that we need to share our strategy with the line level employees. And I'm ready to argue this more, but it's not the point right now. And how do we share our strategy? We need to cascade our business scorecard that we created, this nice scorecard. We need to cascade it from the top level to the lower levels. And you need to explain your strategy to the department. And they need to explain, they need to understand exactly how they can help you to achieve specific objectives. And the department will have its own scorecard. And this scorecard will be linked to the parent scorecard, and then the department managers are expected to explain the strategy to their line level employees. And line level employees need to understand what exactly they need to do in order to help each department achieve specific objectives, and how this will help to achieve the company's objectives. So in the end, if you did a good job and your strategy was carefully defined, you remember these ideas about definitions, problem, diagnosis, solution, hypothesis, educated guess about what might work. So if your strategy was carefully defined, described, as we did with the strategy map, and cascaded, you will have a structure like shown on this slide. Well, it will be more complicated with more details, but if you will have a top view, you will have something like this. So it would be perfect if even smaller tasks of the line level employees will be linked by a cause and effect connection to the top level goals. And on each level, there are some specific measures that one can use to say if he or she is doing well. So that is the idea that we want to achieve. That is our big goal. I think it's big goal, big challenge. So now I'm going to discuss some problems that we mentioned in the beginning, and I'm going to show you how these problems were solved. But let me check the questions first. It's a really interesting questions. Why do we need to always start balanced scorecard with financial perspective? Can we start from other aspects like service or customer service? What's pros and cons? Well, it's actually one of the biggest questions. I think it's necessary to have about 1 or 2 hours to explain this with examples, but let me try to explain this. On the top, we are putting the purpose of the company. So you can say that your company exists to make people happy, to provide the best service, and so on. But actually, any business exists to generate profit. So that's why we put profits on the top. Because if we did a great product, if we did a great customer service, but we failed to generate profit, then it didn't work. And I think that another logical question: what non-profit companies does? What non-profit company does? They might have another strategy map, because generating profit is not their main objective. So it's about non-profit companies. But normal companies that generate profit, they need to have a financial objective on the top. So it's not about geography. It's not about putting something on the top or putting something in the middle. You can put it whatever you want. You can use another perspective. The idea is that any objective, any tasks that your employees do need to be linked in some way to the financial outcome that you want to achieve. So you find some person that is doing something, that is, I'm not sure, that is repairing some computer, and you ask this person, why are you doing this? And he answers, okay, I need to repair this because in this way I will have a computer. And why don't you call a computer service? And he tells, because computer service would cost some money. And you ask, and how much your time costs? And the question is that the time of this person is 2 times more expensive than the time of computer service. So it appears that this very task is not about helping company to earn more. It's more about satisfying the needs of this person to play, with computer hardware and so on. So in this way, we always can show that this is not about helping company. This is not about achieving financial results, and that is actually bad practice. And sometimes there are situations when you ask a manager in the company, why are you doing this? And I think I was writing about this in one of the articles. It's about IT department. IT guys, they are crazy about latest technologies, and they always want to have like the fastest server in the company, the latest security suite. And you ask them, guys, why you did this? Because your top manager is now thinking about promoting your product in Japan, and you are doing this server thing. Yes, what you need to do is to set up a CRM system. You need to prepare some localization aspects in your product and so on. But you are doing this server thing, and it's not about that they are spending your money. Well, they are spending your money. Yes, it's about this, because they are spending your money on what is not important right now. So that is about strategy, and that is actually why the final check is if it helps company from the viewpoint of the profits, of the revenue. And I'm really glad that you asked this question because, well, actually companies need to understand this very well. So let's move ahead to the problems. So the first problem that I mentioned was about having many ideas and it was not clear where to start. What changed now? Now when we defined and described the strategy. Now the business insights were formulated and described in the form of a strategy map. And now we have a well-developed hypothesis about what might work and how to try this out. So let's say that these ideas are now more structured. We now see the relationship between them, and now we have an understanding about priorities. So we are not like 100% clear because it's still an educated guess about the future, but we are much more closer to this understanding. We have a really clearer picture. And another problem that we're talking in the beginning, that employees are always busy doing a lot of various business tasks, but there is no visible results. What situation we face now? Now we know that employees have their own scorecards, and these scorecards are linked to the upper level scorecard. And employees know what results you expect from them, and they know why you need to have these results. And they're not just busy with some important task. And on the contrary, they are working on the task that get your company closer to the expected outcomes. So you can always come to your employee and ask, okay, you are doing this great IT job, you're setting up this fastest web server in the world, and why are you doing this? Can you please point me on the strategy map how it's related to our ultimate goals? And if employee can do this, well, that's great. If he does not do this, then you can stop this on the earlier stage. You won't lose a lot of time. So another problem is about like not what I was looking for. Well, again, this might happen, but when we have measures, when we have strategy map, when we have objectives linked to each other, we will know about these situations on the earlier stages. And when we know about these situations on earlier stages, we can correct these actions immediately. So it's about seeing this big picture. When we see the strategy, we can understand what is going wrong, and employee can communicate with us using this strategy map. And this communication is going to be much clearer, and it will help to talk in the same language. So another problem, they're losing a big picture of the business. With the Cascading scorecard, the big picture idea will be translated, and it will be translated to all members of the team. What does it mean? It means that people are starting seeing the big picture. And again, we don't have a magic pill to make everyone see 10 years ahead and so on. We don't have this kind of magic pill. But we can make people a little bit more involved in our strategy. And you will be surprised by the ideas that people will start suggesting when they understand the big picture. It works. The problem about asking for your assistance really often. So imagine that someone comes to you and trying to ask you a question, some technical question and so on. And the first thing that you ask this person to do is to show on the strategy map how this problem, this idea is related to the strategy, how it's related to the strategy on this level, on the top level. And actually, In this way, it's a kind of communication tool. So it's kind of communication tool, and as I said, you will speak with your employees in the same language. And an employee can show you on the map or on the scorecard how his or her ideas supposed to help the company. So in this way, you're making this communication really, really fast, and you save a lot of time. You prevent a lot of mistakes. So I think you already got the idea. The problem with the ideas that suggested by your employees that that are solved on the same level. People, when they suggest the idea, they can explain you using the strategy map how this idea will help the company. And about this golf example, when people know how to calculate the score but don't know what to do about this, now you have on your scorecard, you have measures. And when you have these measures, you actually link them to objectives. And these objectives are linked to each other with cause and effect connections. And one of these objectives will probably explain the details of your strategy. It will explain the reason of the problem, and it will explain the solution to this problem. And what does it mean for employee? It means that employee now understands how you're going to work with this problem. And when manager and employee are communicating and developing some plans, some initiatives, they can develop this plan and initiative based on the business scorecard. And actually, the how question of the problem, the how question, is now answered in much more details, so it will help. Another problem was about measurement, that company can measure a lot of business indicators but don't know what to use this data. I think you already understand the idea that the company will not be overloaded with unnecessary data. Yes, because we first we come up with business objectives, and only then we move to measures. We don't take like 100 measures from internet and we're trying to understand what it is all about. It doesn't work in this way. So if there is some data that your CRM can generate, but you don't know how it can be used for your strategy, then you don't need this data. It's that obvious, but sometimes companies forget about this. Another problem of measurement that we mentioned in the beginning, that all indicators are in the green zone, but revenue is not growing. Carefully designed measures will tell you whether your strategy is working or not. So with the business scorecard, you're not just measuring what you can. You measure what actually matters. So that is the difference, and it actually makes the big difference. And the situation when the costs increased but profits did not. Again, on the strategy map, we have objectives linked to each other with these cause and effect connections. So you can always track from the lowest level to the upper level. You can always track and understand what happened. You can always ask why question, and it won't prevent you from all the mistakes, but it will help you to correct your actions on earlier stages. So that's how it works. Let me check the questions, and the next step I suggest you to do is to talk about, I call it social proof of the business scorecard. In an evolving business, to achieve the big picture, it's usually achieved by smaller pictures by various departments. Can it be captured in balance scorecard or business scorecard and linked to the big picture? Can explain with an example. Another good question. I need to hire you as a consultant for our company. Well, two approaches here. One approach is that when a company is a big one, like let's say like some international telecommunication company, then it does not make sense to start from the top level, as I mentioned before, because it will be really hard to translate the strategy to the departments. Yes, because normally these companies, their business consists of several separated parts, and it's hard to combine all these parts under the same strategy umbrella. So it doesn't work in this way. In this case, it's better to start with some strategy of some department, of some business unit. In this case, we can start with this strategy, and then we can link in some way to the top level scorecard. How it is realized in practice? In practice, it is realized with the so-called linkage scorecard. When we have our business unit with a great strategy, and we have our parent scorecard with great strategy as well, but they are not really interconnected because they are so big that the business unit is doing something really different. And in this way, to connect this, we need to implement a linkage scorecard where we put measures and objectives that are important for the parent company, and this will be like a benchmark for department. So that is the basic idea, and it's for big companies. Another case is when we have more or less defined strategy and on the top level, and we go to the department, let's say for example HR department, and these guys in HR, they have a great picture of what is going on the HR market about talents and so on, talent management. And what we're doing, we're trying to combine our goals. Yes, so top management suggests some ideas to HR, and HR suggests some ideas to top management, and it's about this. It's about strategy formulation and strategy description process. So top management will refuse to follow some ideas that they don't understand from HR, and HR will suggest some corrections for top management strategy. So that it is about. It's a big picture of how it's happened. And I think this answers the first part of the question. As for example, if you're really interested in this topic, that you can check the Strategy Focused Organization by Kaplan and Norton. It was published by Harvard Business Press, and there are some really good examples, and each example about 5-page long, so it's not possible to discuss this example here. But if you really need to find an answer for this very problem, if you need to have a guide on this problem, we can discuss this later, or you can check out this book by Norton and Kaplan. So let's go on to social proof. Before this webinar, I was sending a home task to all people who sign up with the webinar. I was sending a list to one of the articles, a look inside Global Executive Business Toolkit. So it's a kind of social proof about business scorecard and balance scorecard, because it was a big study done. I don't remember who did this study. The name of the study was Management Tools and Trends 2013. And they found out that business scorecard is among top 5 most used business tools. So that is probably why anyone should think about this, should try to see if this idea can help the business. And of course, it's these statistics vary from the region to region. For example, as far as I remember, the balanced scorecard is most popular in Asia and as well in Latin America countries. So, but it is still in the 5 top tools of any business executive. So it's not only about I understand people who are skeptical about the strategy map and business scorecard approach, and I do understand because we are faced with new buzzwords and new acronyms every day, and the strategy map and business scorecard buzzwords might change, but the ideas that stand behind there will certainly work and will help you with strategy description and execution. So that is probably the best reason to try the business scorecard approach. So, well, today we did just a short review of the topic. And what we're going to do here at BC Design, we're going to open a web course with the same name, Strategy and Business Scorecard. And in this course, we'll discuss all the mentioned aspects, but with much more details. And actually, I'll teach you to build a business scorecard. And what is more important, I will provide you with some feedback about each step of your scorecard project. So what it is all about. Together we'll move step by step from strategy definition and description to strategy map, measures, cascading. And we'll do this on a weekly basis. In total, there will be 8 weeks of this course. What does it mean? It means that you will have enough time to implement, to try all the ideas, to implement them in your business, and to get my feedback and to go ahead. It will be, well, more or less intensive, because I think you will need about 4 hours each week to listen to audio course and to implement this. So each week there will be a live audio cast that you need to attend, or you can download it later as a recording. And each week you will have a home task. And as I mentioned, each week you will have a feedback from me. So if you are interested in this and if you decide to participate, what I'm expecting? I'm expecting that you are top manager or department manager, because, well, you might be self-employed, it doesn't matter, but I want you to be on a strategy level, yes, because there are a lot of other things that you can do before. You can you can do something about time management, you can do something about product management. So you need to have this kind of, let's say, business maturity and be on the level of strategy. Another requirement is that you know what your current business challenge is, and, well, you have more or less defined hypothesis about what you need to do. Because, well, if your general problem is I want more money, it's not really a problem. Yeah, you need to have some ideas about what is preventing you to earn more money, what is preventing business to earn more money, what challenges you have, and what ideas you have. Because we'll start with strategy definition, and it won't be possible to do strategy definition when you don't have a problem, when you don't have a business challenge. So if everything works smoothly in your business, if you have enough money and you don't have any, let's say, challenges, then probably strategy won't help you a lot. And, well, 4 hours each week to listen to audiocast and to do home tasks. So audiocast won't be really long. I think it will be 1 hour more or less each week, and you will need to spend, I think, about 3 hours to describe your ideas. And Well, sometimes I hear an opinion that one can read about business scorecards in an article or pass a one-day seminar, and that's it. Unfortunately, this is not enough. For example, if you compare it to the way you get some of the knowledge and skills in your life, for example, you can get some ideas about theoretical physics by reading a few articles in a popular science magazine. And this knowledge is probably enough to, let's say, impress your friends. But you will need to study at least 4 semesters in the university to get a good understanding of the topic. And nobody expects to learn theoretical physics by just visiting a one-day seminar. So business scorecards are not that complicated, but you still need to invest time in the learning of the nuances and trying everything in your own business. So that's why the course is 8 weeks long, and my goal is not to give you some sound statistics about this concept so you can impress your boss, impress your employees. My goal is to give you something tangible, some tangible results. So a few words about why you should do this with us. Those who are in our mail list have been here for a long time. I think some subscribers have been here with us for more than 10 years. So those who get regular messages from us, I'm sure you guys know that we provide a good piece of information. It's not about copying some articles from internet. And talking about my experience, I have a lot of experience with Balancer Scorecard, with business scorecards on the level of software. I mean now BC Designer product, and as well as the level of consulting. So check out our case studies and testimonials on bcdesigner.com and learn what people say. I'm also an author of the books on business scorecard that you can find on Amazon. And I have written a large number of articles where I share my experience as well. So you're welcome to read these articles. You're welcome to read my book. And I would say that my goal is to guide you in practical steps to create a business scorecard. And I hope that this scorecard will give you some tangible results. So I formulate my goal for this course in this way. So if you decide to participate, I will put in chart a link to the where you'll find the details about this course, and you'll find there all the details. And if you have any questions, 8 weeks course. If you have any questions, you can contact us. And one thing, the number of participants is limited by 20. And it's not a kind of, some marketing trick that people want to use to invite more people. It's for another reason. It's because we are limited in technical capacity, and what's more important, I am limited in my ability to give a feedback, because giving feedback to 20 companies is really a challenging task. And we have a money-back guarantee, which sounds like, as you can see on the screen, if you did all the home tasks and implemented your home task, your results in your business, but you have not seen any tangible results, then we will give you money back. So that is our guarantee, and we don't worry about giving this guarantee because we know how business scorecards works when implemented. Companies only come back and asking for more. Another important aspect is this course is vendor neutral. It means that we won't discuss any specific software for automation of business scorecard. So you don't need to invest in any software to participate. So my offer for this week, as you can see on the top, it is $1,560 United States dollars per person per seat. It's a regular price, retail price, but during this week there is a 29% discount applied to this price. So the total for you will be $1,108. Yeah, you can buy if you want. I do recommend to check all the details before. It is needed to have a real life case of ourselves, real life case of ourselves. Well, it's better to have it. It's better to start working directly with your company, to start working directly with your problems. Yeah, because if you're like trying to learn this, yes, you will learn a lot of things. Yes, you will have recordings that you can use later. Yes, you can trying to create some model for some, for example, business that you have in mind. You can practice in this way. It works also, but if you would try it with your own business, if you would implement this directly in your business, you would have these tangible results, and it's up to you. If you want to pass this as only an educational level, you need to do the home tasks, well, pretending that you have a company, pretending that you have some business challenge. So you need to have a kind of model in your head. Well, we're not going to check if you are doing this in your company. We don't require you to present some, financial reports or accounting statements. So it's all only about you. Um, about our support team. They will help you with this question about using BC Designer Pro online. The basic direction that I can give you right now that you have like two options. One option is to use BC Designer online, separate edition of BC Designer. And normally it's not the best option because people who already tried BC Designer Pro, they want all the features, they want it to be fast, they want it to be as nice as Pro version. So if you mean that you need to build a cascading project with BC Designer, then you need to use BC Designer online as a storage for your projects, and BC Designer Pro will be able to create a cascading structure by keeping the projects in BC Designer online. So this is one option, and another option is to use a FTP server to make the same idea. It's about linking scorecards with BC Designer Pro, and well, it's more about technical project about BC Designer. So if you need some guidance, drop us a message, and some of our guys will give you some guides about this. So if there is no more questions, about the business scorecard and this 8 weeks course, then I thank everybody for their participation, and I hope I will see you in the 8 weeks long course, and I will follow you up with some emails about this webinar that we did. I will send you a recording of this, a link to the recording of this webinar, so you can decide. And this offer that I made is valid for 1 week. So if you want to participate, makes sense participating, makes sense signing up during this 1 week. So you have the best price, and you have a license for BC Designer Pro as a gift. So thank you very much for the participation. Have a good day and goodbye.